The O'Reilly Factor.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Juan Williams, in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the personal story segment tonight, where's the outrage? As President Obama flew to Copenhagen to try to win the Olympics for his hometown of Chicago, some African-American members of that town want to know why the president hasn't spoken out about the beating death, absolutely bizarre and cruel beating death of a Chicago honor student caught in the middle of a fight between two rival factions. President Obama was very vocal about the controversy surrounding the arrest of a black Harvard professor by a white cop, but so far, not a peep, hasn't said a word about the murder of Darian Albert last week. That said, Attorney General Eric Holder and Education Secretary Arne Duncan will go to Chicago next week to meet with members of the community. Joining us now from Boston, the Reverend Eugene Rivers, and from Los Angeles, civil rights attorney Leo Terrell. You know what, Eugene Rivers, let me start with you and ask, we have an African-American president. He's from Chicago. We've seen this videotape. How can he not speak out on this issue? It is a moral outrage. It is a challenge to us as black people.
Listen, the intellectual and moral asymmetry of President Obama investing his political capital in this celebrity contretemps in Harvard Square that resulted in a big national discussion about which beer they would drink at the White House, and the death of an innocent child in President Obama's hometown. Listen, President Obama and the Obama administration, it is a shame at best and moral asymmetry that you would be silent on the death of this young child and use this teachable moment wrapped in this tragedy to begin a national conversation about one of the major scourges of this country, which is black-on-black crime.
Well,
America.
Let me bring Leo in here. Leo, Terrell, let me ask you something. Can the president, even as I and you just heard Reverend Rivers, we are both, you know, just about want to have our heads blown off. I mean, just can't believe what's going on with black-on-black crime. But is it unfair of us to ask that the president get involved here? Do you think it would make a difference if he, as president, the first black president, said something with heart, with passion? Would it make a difference to these kids who would do something so cruel and so brutal to an honor student?
Juan, I think respectfully, you and the Reverend are wrong. I think the analogy is a false analogy. The issue involving the police officer and the professor talks about a historical problem with race relations between black and whites. We had a civil war about this. We had constitutional amendments over this. We had a Voting Rights Act and a Civil Rights Act. Black-on-black crime, black-on-brown crime exists throughout this country. And to try to criticize the president because he talked about a historical problem that we have had in this country, black versus white, and to criticize him because he did not speak out with the same temperament on this particular tragic situation is wrong. And I think it is a false analogy to criticize the president for that, Juan.
Well, wait a second now. One situation, the president thought it was racial profiling. I don't think it was racial profiling when Sergeant Crowley showed up at that house. So I don't see the historical analogy. Neighbors of all races calling somebody to Professor Gates' house, I mean, I don't see that. But anyway, let's assume that what you say is right, okay? Even if that's right, don't you think there's a need to deal with this black-on-black crime situation, especially when it's young men killing each other and killing an honor student?
I don't dispute the need to do. Let me just say, I don't think it's an issue about talking about it. But what you're asking the president to do is to raise it to the same national level as this historical problem that we have had with black and white cases. The black-on-black crime is something of a recent development over the last 25, 30 years. The president sent the Attorney General and he sent the Secretary of Education. But to attack him because he didn't raise it to that level is wrong.
All right, Reverend Rivers?
No, it's not an attack, it's a challenge. This is a moral challenge to the President of the United States. I'm calling on the country and black people across the country to address this issue. You see, the Civil War was not about a black professor getting into a beef with a white cop. The Civil War was about slavery. So there's no analogy there. Slavery is what the Civil War was about. In this case, you have this scourge, this epidemic of black-on-black violence as an entire generation of young black males are drowning in their own blood, and we are making a humanitarian appeal to the leader of this country to exhibit the same moral concern that he exhibited in the case of my friend Henry Louis Gates and this remarkable tragedy where there has been silence across the board. Frankly, just morally, I'm astounded at the remarkable moral asymmetry, and I'm calling on the country.
Well, let me jump in. Let me go back to Leo. Leo, you know what? Here's the thing for me. You're saying this is not the historical argument, you know what, that there's a larger problem with black people and cops and all the rest. But, Leo, when I think about what's going on in the streets of urban America today with young black kids killing young black kids, brother, it hurts my heart. And I can't believe that you would sit here and not say we got to do something as adults in the room.
Juan, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is a flaw in the Reverend's argument. He said he's calling on black people. He should be calling on all Americans. I question the Reverend's motivation simply because Mr. Obama's skin shares the same color as ours. Would he make the same call if it was President Bush? Let me finish. I didn't interrupt you. And Juan, as a civil rights attorney, I feel the hurt and need. But we have black on brown crime as well. And to make a reference that the Reverend is calling on black America, this is an America issue. And so all Americans should be involved.
Leo, you don't feel that there's you don't feel there's a special moment here for black adults, for people like you, me, Reverend Rivers, to speak up and say this is an outrage and in our community take some responsibility?
But our community consists of other races. Right. So I say, yes, Juan, we should set the lead, but we should make sure that we're inclusive with everyone else. Again, Juan, we have black on brown crime in Los Angeles.
Well, look, I'm just saying this is a specific black on black issue. Reverend Rivers, I'm going to give you the last word. We got about 15 seconds.
President Obama, we appeal to you to exhibit the same moral and intellectual concern that you exhibited for our friend Skip Gates, for the poor black child in the inner cities.
Reverend Rivers, Mr. Terrell, thank you both.